Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Roach Wiggle, June 29th, 2023. I have some good news for a couple of regular viewers, those being Loki and Junior. Your boxes are on the way as of today. The USPS should have forwarded the tracking information, but we know how that goes sometimes. So if you need it again, just let me know. Chris, I have not gotten all of your order packed yet, and I will be contacting you regarding that, obviously. Let me say hello to everybody here, to Zen Monkey, Incognito, somebody else, Loki, Jojo Bugs, and Braden. Wow, it's weird. It says there's only one person in here, but there's definitely more than one person. Hello, my fellow bug lovers from Jose Nunez. Welcome. I'm going to take a moment. I need to send some tracking info to some people. Whoa, definitely mistyped that really bad. What day is today? Thursday? Actually, I need to focus on this for one moment while I say hello to everybody. I have to focus on just one part of this email. All right, just sent that about, I don't know if I had brought this up on the stream before, but there's the roach herpes, Labulomyces, Labulomycetes, colloquially called labules. There are some Parcoblata virginica collected in Dearborn at the Environmental Study Area, which is associated with the Environmental Interpretive Center, blah, blah, blah. I was allowed to collect there. You usually need permission to collect. So I got a colony of those going, and there is a researcher, and these Labulomycetes have popped up on those virginica, and we're going to see if it might be an undescribed species. So I just wanted to get a word in that if they are undescribed, I would like them to be named after the center in some capacity, because the center needs that sort of publicity and the whatnot. So Jojo says another Regius sac hatched this week. This one looks like 100 plus. It's going to be like every other week with the Regius sacs from now until forever. Yeah, they do pump them out. You can get pretty good survivorship in the young, even if you don't separate them. If you just dump a bunch of fruit flies in. I had like a big communal battle royale that got maybe like 80 to like L4, L5 with just dumping in Drosophila hydides, but I'll do it again sometime. I got a lot of stuff to take care of, guys. Let's see. Things to discuss. We have the mini auction tomorrow, of all things. Again, more self-harm. Tetramorium immigrants, Queens this past week, says Loki. Congrats. That's a lot of Tetramorium. We haven't really had any good nuptial flights. I guess carpenter ants did fly here. Speaking of Loki, I should be keeping an eye out for Queens for you. But the dryness really kept its thumb on a lot of stuff. And now, like, I just started seeing bumblebee workers, like, maybe 2 or 3 days ago here. That's how just the big gush of rain we had really brought a lot of stuff out. Really pushed a lot of things along too. It's so lush outside. Finally, it's nice to look at. Fun stuff going up tomorrow. Any arachnids? Maybe some arachnids. Jojo, I'm doing all that I can to try and get some of the things that you want coming up. It's going to be probably one big group order of stuff if I can arrange these things for your stuff. I don't know. It probably won't be very arachnid heavy, unfortunately, but we'll see. Which is actually something I want to. Can I do an open-ended? Start a poll, answer viewer questions live. I didn't realize Q&A was an option. I guess I'm looking for anybody who wants anything particular tomorrow. I am going to make some notes in my little book here. I'm going to try and keep the auction to under 100 items because that to me is a mini auction, is under 100 things. So I'm taking requests. If there's anything anybody here particularly wants listed or was considering, let me know. I'm sure we'll get some more people trickling in. In fact, I would think that, but will you? I'm really going to try. I'm actually getting the whole list ready today for the auction tomorrow because I was supposed to go and do some stuff in my neighbor Karen's for her flower beds and plantings and gardens and vegetable garden fence and all this stuff. And I was busy finishing up the packing for the boxes today. And I just was like, you know what? There's no way I can do this reasonably. I'm just going to focus on one thing. And then over the next couple of days when I have free time, I can go over to her place and take care of the stuff that she needs done. Since she's retired, there's not really any hard limit on when I can and can't work over there. But still, let's see what else. So yes, anybody joining us who's here, let me know if there's anything in particular you'd like to see. I'm going to blame the low viewership probably on the fact that the auction is tomorrow and people are sort of like, oh, I'll just go and see what's up tomorrow at the mini auction. I should probably put a bumper for that in the Discord at some point. I'll probably pin that in the other thing. I'll pin the Discord link tomorrow closer to the time. So, but yes, just some, let's see, get through some administrative update stuff on the last week. Angela and I did have our lovely vacation up north to Sleeping Bear Dunes, National Lake Shore and Traverse City area. We had a very relaxing weekend. We went to the beach. We went on a hike on the property we were staying at. We just relaxed. We got some good food, and it was very much needed. And actually, we found, this is unfortunate. Well, we thought it was going to be not unfortunate, but we found on our evening of our last day, we found a baby blue jay that fell out of the nest. And I was like, all right, they were in the middle of downtown. We don't know any animal rehabbers here. We'll just try and take care of it as best as we can because I couldn't get it back up to the nest either. It was like 15 feet up in a Bradford pear, and like climbing on any of the branches would have just snapped it to pieces. So we took it back to our tent thing, and we tried to keep it alive over the night with like a warm water bottle and all the stuff. Unfortunately, it didn't make it. But while we were expecting that it would make it, I was like, well, we got to go and catch food for it. So we got to go bug hunting. So I grabbed my headlamp and we went out at night. We were looking for, I got a lot of spiders. We went to the barn that was on the property and we caught some Hyralis moths and cellar spiders there in hopeful expectation that we'd be able to save this poor thing. And unfortunately, by the morning it had passed. But I did find while we were out looking for bugs that night to feed the thing, I did find a very weird-looking parka-blat, female with an ooth on it, and I brought it home. So I brought no containers on that trip. We had to use like a water bottle or a coconut water bottle that we brought to keep it in. But now I have another parka-blat, and it's very weird. I think a lot of parka-blat are going to need to be split up in the future or re-examined because this one just looks so bizarre. Zen Monkey says, I didn't think you were going to have an auction and a live stream. Yeah, glad I checked. Yes, thank you for checking in. I was debating not doing today's live stream. I think I might keep it shorter because I think that people are probably saving themselves for tomorrow. But anybody who's here now, again, tell me some things that you want. Braden's would like some, if I have any Geoblongonota and V Vanonis or whatever the new Latin name is for them. Common name is now Vanonis. I think there's a very good chance that I will have some of both of those. So, very good chance. With this humidity going up, I think I spoke last week on how a bunch of my hissers are having babies. It's probably very natural for them to respond to increases in humidity by giving birth, because a lot of Madagascar, a lot of parts of it do have those spiky forests, do have a wet and a dry season. So it makes sense that they would be long-lived and they would be able to just sort of wait out the dry periods and have a bunch of babies as soon as it's wet. Androhomana still has not had babies, but she is the fattest I've ever seen her. So I'm pretty sure within the next month that she's going to have babies. Pretty much all of my hissers are just doing phenomenal, including Oblongonota. Again, I think Oblongonota might be the most dry sensitive hisser species, because all winter I got barely any babies, and then I started doing the poly. I wasn't misting as much as I was when I had Will doing the misting, because every night I tell Will, okay, Will, go mist everything. I haven't been able to do that, so I started looking into using the polycarbs, and now I looked in the Oblongonota colony, and there's a bunch of babies, and it's like, okay, this makes sense. Pseudoscorpions and springtails is my goal. Pseudoscorpions, probably not. Actually, let me check on a pseudoscorpion I just got. Will and I went collecting at my cousin's place a couple of weeks ago. Oh my gosh, it's been weeks now. It's been like 2 weeks. It's crazy. And she has an old barn and stuff out in the woods. It's very much so like the places. Oh, here's I had some food. Food. Very much so like the places in all those old publications where they're like, ah, yes, we found 7 specimens under a hay bale in an old barn loft or something. It's very much like a lot of those places in their descriptions. So Will's got a lot on his plate right now, so he's trying to deal with that as best as he can. So he actually gave me one of these cheliferids that we found, which is a more, not necessarily a dry tolerant pseudoscorpion species, but like they seem to like it kind of like fire brats and stuff do, where it's like they don't want really high moisture, they just kind of want dampness. They don't want like it soaking wet. Like this is, you can see how dry everything is in here, but I have no ventilation on the lid. So I just thought, I'll just give this a try and see how this goes with this cheliferid that Will gave me. And so we're just going to see. And, sometimes you can go from like one pseudoscorpion to like dozens in a couple of weeks. So I'm really hoping that's what's going to happen here. I think I'm seeing the desiccated corpses of fruit flies that I put in. So that's a good sign. So maybe I'll have another species available. I do have the culture of Tyrannochelifer that Will gave me when we were all kind of like panicking and everybody were kind of losing them, and I think it was down to 5. And I put them in with Latiblatella because I think that's one of their wild food items. So I do have that. I haven't checked on it to see if they're doing all right or not. So I'm assuming the worst, but hey, I could be wrong. They have a lot of food options in there. So Brayden asks, how many Androhomana princessia females do I have? I have 1. TJ sent me a pair of the Androhomanas just to kind of get them into other people's hands, and I appreciate that. So, but I think she's going to have babies. Of the probably pure hobby strain of princessia, that colony is doing phenomenal. Like they've got that elite effect. They're really doing well. They got some good momentum. and I may put some of those up for auction tomorrow. Again, I'm gonna try and go with stuff that I didn't have at the last auction, and stuff that I missed at the last auction, and then a couple of things that seemed pretty popular at the last auction. Alan, my condolences about your situation. I know it's a complex thing going on, but I appreciate you stopping in. Is anything from that Alan sent me recently going to be on this? I don't think so. Oh, maybe the what's the common name? I really need to remember the Latin name for these because it's important. Desmosites planatus, Desmosites planata, the pink dragon or whatever they're calling the millipedes. There will be some of those available too. Those came from Alan recently, semi-recently. So, auction off Victor's firstborn to be delivered circa 2025, 2026. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. I could see myself doing something like that eventually, or auctioning off the first right of picking or something. Victor and Nazik are doing very well. Victor is an entirely different animal now. He's so relaxed. Nazik has been a little terror. She's very sweet, but she's a terror, and she keeps him on his toes and chases him around all the time and stuff. And he's much happier. When she's an adult, it's going to be like having dogs. It'd be like it would be easier to have the two dogs than to not have the two dogs at some point. Oh, I gotta eat some of these noodles really fast, guys. Oh, precious sodium. That's good. So let's see other things. Yeah, anybody who's joined us recently, any suggestions for what you'd like to see at the auction tomorrow? Now is the time to say it. Otherwise, I guess I'll ramble about some things. I'm in my own personal hell in some ways at the moment because I had some male rough green snakes that were kind of getting bullied by other male rough green snakes, and they ended up dying. And I put them in with Loki. I'll go up and check that. Loki was suggesting. Oh, Loki, I don't see where it says what you suggested. It's not showing up in the chat for some reason. Anyways, let me finish my thought with the snake thing. So anyways, I threw them in the dermestid bin, and the dermestids are not processing very quickly right now for some reason. I think they're mostly larger individuals or something. The bin's full of all kinds of shredded up fluff and this and that, and they didn't process through the rough greens as fast. They didn't really process them at all. And so I have this gigantic Ford fly outbreak in the basement to the point where I can look into a container that's pristine and completely clean with nothing in it but just dirt, and there'd be 10 Ford flies in there, and it's my personal hell right now. So I was just bringing that up because that's something that's new, I guess, and something I have to deal with because there's no biocontrol for them available. So that's been going on. I got back from my trip. Auction tomorrow, Allie Last. Sorry to hear about your health reasons, but there is a mini auction tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern time. I'm going to keep it to 100 items of stuff. So if you have any suggestions for things that you'd like, let me know now here. And yeah, Loki, I don't see your suggestion in the chat. Maybe it got filtered for some reason. Let me see how many lines on each page there are. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 21 lines. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages of stuff tomorrow. Dry goods. Allie wants some dry goods to be put up. I might actually be able to do that. I came out of this winter really lacking in leaves, and now I have an abundance. I did a thing. I did a rake in part of the front yard in the prairie because I want to see some more annuals pop up, like partridge pea or some fast growing perennials like Monarda, Monarda punctata, and plains coreopsis over in this one area that gets the most sun. So I did a rake of all the leaf litter that had accumulated over there, and I got on the driveway and I tarped it and I let it sit out all winter. And it's really good stuff. I've been using it for like Aranavega, Aranavega Boliana and stuff like that. And so I actually have a good amount of like leaf litter mix available right now. Because again, coming out of the spring, I was like, everything's running out of stuff. Scabromorphs, beebles, black leatherleaf slugs, anything weird or unique. So I thought I lost my black leather leaves. In fact, one of the people who got them in the auction, I had to tell them, sorry, I wasn't able to ship them because I checked the colony and it had collapsed because I fed them kale when they were really eating more dog food and parrot food. And so the colony, just the bottom fell out of it. And so I went to clear the container like a week ago to you reuse the container for something else. And I found one. I was like, okay, this is one, so I can restart a colony with one theoretically. It might be able to self-fertilize. And then that was the only one I found. And then I went to sterilize all the contents. I used scalding water and all that stuff. And as I was doing that, I found a couple strings of eggs that I had scalded. And I was like, oh, why wasn't I more patient? I should have just waited. So... but there's a very good chance there will be black leather leaves at the fall auction, as well as Florida leather leaves. Although they've been very slow for me all around. They grow pretty fast, but they don't seem to reproduce very quickly. There will be some good stuff for beetles. There will be some very good stuff for beetles I had planned. If anybody's looking for Dynasties Hercules, there will be some larvae of that available tomorrow. Weird and unique. Taphiliska. If I could figure out if these babies are onomerous or that other weird family of millipede, I might put some of these up. I really should just get a colony of these going first and figure out what it is. I had to figure out what I did that one time that allowed me to have hundreds of them after only having 8, and then they collapsed. Might have to do with like the wood type that I used. This is where Kyle discovers he's already got 120 items and he's still soliciting ideas. Oh man. I also agree with Loki, bring on the weird and niche. Yeah, there's maybe I'll do some more crickets that I didn't do last time, like the Badlands field crickets and stuff like that. Too hot in Arizona to ship bugs in, but I might check in on the auction just for fun. It's never too hot, Devin. It is. I have shipped it everywhere and don't even require hold for pickup a lot of the time. The ventilation in the cups really, the cardboard boxes, the USPS cardboard boxes have a good amount of just natural ventilation porosity and just the encapsulating stuff in just the painter's paper or whatever it's called that I use. A lot of stuff is very, very heat tolerant. It's usually the other direction with things getting too cold. So... So has anybody cultured or found anything particularly new and exciting lately? Anything from the battlefront? I'm supposed to go pick up a Springfield cricket or maybe a group of Springfield crickets from Kai on Saturday, along with some other stuff. Brandon Maines is visiting him. I'm getting a very large order of stuff from him. Some new things that I have to go pick up. Let's see. Actually, I should send my payment over for that right now. So just some things that I want that should be pretty easy to get going. like Hemiblabra granulata, just rounding out some things. Eublabrus marajora, ink spot roach. I wonder how long it will take people to start calling them the Majora's Mask cockroach. Really curious. I mean, the Latin is so close to it. Does anybody know what marajora means? And they do look very Majora's Masky, honestly, with those pronotum markings. I'm just curious, So I'm finally getting a group of those. So that's going to be nice. It's supposed to be 110 plus the next 2 weeks, says Devin. Yeah, I mean, weather in like Phoenix is pretty crazy. But again, most roaches don't go into, I think it's heat shock until they're about 137 degrees intrinsically. Loki says, I have diving beetles doing well, but haven't bred. Loki, you are fighting. What species of diving beetle, actually? Jojo says, no Parkoblatta Americana last auction. What about this? Yeah, I think I can put up some of the ones from Table Rock Mountain in Idaho. I'll put that on the list here, actually. PCFM Table Rock Mountain. I actually moved the Twain Hearts to a new enclosure downstairs. I can't exactly remember why, but I moved into a new enclosure, and I think they were quite happy about it when I did maintenance last. It's been so warm in the basement bug room that I'm going to end up having to double up on doing bug husbandry, because I did that one day or that one period of days where I just got it all done, and then now I'm like, Grant has got to call us. Now I'm trying to keep that momentum and stay on top of things. Oh, that's a cute little Dytiscid. Grant has got to call us. Size 9.8 to 12.7 millimeters. Huh. That's an interesting little diver. Half an inch. That seems pretty reasonable to breed, Loki. I hope you have success. Again, just the fact that it's so small means it should be easier to provide them with food, but man, breeding those and breeding tiger beetles is that's a whole other ballpark. So yeah, Marajora. I wonder what Marajora means. Anybody know? Anybody out there know what Marajora means? This Latin name. Otherwise, this could have a very low-hanging fruit of a common name. I have mostly the golden color variety. I'm feeding them rice worms, chopped silkworms, and tiny pieces of fish so far. A planted and filtered 5-ish gallon tank. I'm going to say, I think you're going to need more space than that. I'm going to say that. Just from my experience with the sunburst ones. Again, it was planted, filtered, aerated, crawl-outed, 20,000 Daphnia magna at them. Marajo Island or the Marajo culture in Brazil. Thank you, Braden. That's very informative. Marajora culture, ancient pre-Columbian civilization that flourished on Marajo Island at the mouth of the Amazon River in northern Brazil. Very interesting. So it might be named after that. So maybe I'll meme the common name to beat the Majora's Mask, Roach. Obviously, I prefer to use the Latin whenever possible, but sometimes we like to have some fun. Sometimes. Loki says, yeah, I'm planning to upgrade and get Oren's book on beetles. Apparently, it has some more info on breeding diving beetles, but lots of places are sold out of it. You could get in touch with Oren directly and see if he's got any copies available. Let's see, looking around here, anything special or important? I feel like something was breeding that I wanted to. it means Zelda isn't doing her own dirty work this time around either. That's funny. I appreciate that. What I wanted to bring up was a lot of my springtails. I get very ambitious in the spring, and I get a bunch of different springtails, and then through the summer, the air humidity goes up. A lot of them don't like to be drenched when the air humidity is high. This whole spiel that I go on about constantly. It's really the easiest and best time to breed a lot of springtails is during the winter time when it's so dry and you can basically water at liberty. And they're a lot of the larger ones are very good at managing their water intake even when the air is dry. But I'm very happy because I have these larger containers of springtails on the springtail rack over here, full top ventilation, and they're all doing pretty well. And I've been very stingy with the water that I put into them. I still have to be careful because if it dries out completely, a lot of them will die. But the Orchicella cincta, Tomasoracia vulgaris are doing very well. And before the original culture crashed, I did get a split off of, just from ones I collected earlier this year, I did get a split off of Orchicella villosa. So I'm going to put those into one of these larger containers. And part of the money from the auction is going to go into some, as this always is, go into supplies. So I need to buy more of these faunariums to put springtails into. Zen Monkey says, Amazon has 2 copies of Warren's book, same price as anyone else. Jeff B needs your pennies. Sounds kind of familiar. Grylus assimilis. Guys, I have to put a bounty out for Grylus assimilis. My colony crashed completely. I pulled out a couple of subadults that I thought were going to be healthy, and the colony crashed. So now I have cultures of 10 other Grylus species, but my assimilis completely crashed. And my Akita domestica were en route to do the same thing, and my Grylodes, it got very, again, air humidity goes up, it gets stagnant stuff even with full top ventilation. So there was a lot more mold forming. Crickets really do not like mold. They want bone dry air, complete full ventilation, and to just get a spray or something once a day to drink from, other than their eggs. So that's been difficult to do with the air humidity increase and with the lack of airflow in the basement because I haven't had the AC on for one. Even so, the AC vent's blocked in the bug room, and during the winter, there's hot, dry air getting blown constantly. So I need to restart those. Anybody who got them from me, I might start tracing my emails to see who got assimilis from me. I know Jojo has them, but because of the way the world works, Jojo can very freely import bugs from me, but he can't send the same things that I just sent him across the border back to me. So go figure that one out. So all the other Grylus are doing fine. The Fort Morgan, a lot of them, they're all the Grylus are pretty much the same level of cannibalism and whatnot. It's all in the husbandry with respect to whether or not they actually eat each other or anything like that. So Loki, you could go for any of the other Grylus that I may list, like the Fort Morgan or the North of Toroweep or all this other stuff I'm listing should be just fine. I guess maybe looking at the more drier tolerance, I don't know. They're all, other than the Fort Morgans, they're all roughly the same size. The North of Toroweep ones do have very pretty nymphs, so that's a plus. I'm so lucky I have to contact my person who's down near the border to get me the Grylus Loco Rojo. Will be coming out pretty soon. Touching base for cricket trip. I have no idea what the weather's like down in the Southwest right now, but he's supposed to go. Last year, I'm pretty sure I collected Grylus Loco Rojo from down near the border at this one rest stop, and I lost them because of blah, blah, blah. You guys know stuff happens. But at least I know where they're found, so he can go back there and catch them. If there's a good rain or whatever, he hopefully has a chance of catching them, and I can have those Loco Rojos because they were big and they were colorful, and obviously there's a whole story behind they were almost a replacement feeder, and people were saying they were attacking their animals and all this stuff. So, Allie says, my bug dealer in Florida that supplies my centipedes retired, and I am devastated. Who is that? Who's that? Retired? How do you retire from collecting centipedes? I feel like that's something that either kills you or you die while you're still doing it. Basically, you get the muscle memory for it. You can do it forever. He'd rather stick to snakes. Huh? Interesting. So, Braden, I cannot speak for Dynasties Hercules or Megasoma elephas raising completely to adulthood, but as I understand it, elephas are kind of not picky. I guess they're kind of considered a trash beetle with respect to like their larval requirements, and the Hercules seem to like higher quality flake soil or composted material or something like that. Is my understanding. So, if you're taking really good care of your elephas, I would think the Hercules are probably very similar. I have them on sterilized compost from my compost pile right now, and they're doing quite well. There's a bit of fungus, or not fungus, a mold that's popped up in there. Has me kind of being like, a little bit, but also they're in very well ventilated cups, so I don't think it's going to be an issue, and they'll probably just eat it. So Loki says, I had someone who I was going to pay to catch me things near Houston, then backed out. I still need to find someone. Yeah, so just finding a consistent person who can catch you things places is a huge thing. We would have a lot more stuff in culture if we had somebody like that in a lot of ways. Braden says, I like the lobster compost you recommend. I'd probably be using a lot of that. Yeah, that might work well for those beetles. I feel like at some point I tried a beetle in that and they didn't do so well, but it could have been a moisture thing too. It could have been a moisture thing. I want to say maybe I tried Dynasties Tidius in that, which is supposedly, compared to Hercules, a trash beetle, as they call it overseas. Catch any more wasp queens? No, I have not, unfortunately. I believe the season for doing that safely has passed, but I will keep that in mind in the future, moving into things that wasp queens are desired by some. Lobster Combos, it's a brand. It's like Main Brand or something. I think I posted a link at some point. It's in like a green and blue container. It looks really woodsy and all this stuff. And I have used that. I used it for my A Gigas, and I really liked it. They seem to like it. I've used it for a couple of different things here and there. It's a little on the pricey side, but again, I'm getting results from using it, so then that doesn't really matter. But it does not smell. It's got to be like, when they do this commercial harvesting of lobster and they rip the thing to pieces and they sell off all the pieces you can eat, and they end up with all the stuff that nobody eats or whatever. They must sort of do like a huge heap or something and just leave it, and or maybe a huge warehouse or something, and then turn it over, and eventually just becomes like a very rich compost. And so I have used that. I'm not currently using it for anything because my compost is very rich, and that's obviously free other than sterilizing it. But I can recommend it. Allie, I am not a medical professional, so I don't know if you could handle it, but it's dirt. It's dirt at this point. You don't see any bits of exoskeleton or anything in it. It's just a rich black dirt in a bag. So maybe I would think it would be fine, but and it has no smell. Brings in some more details. There's like no smell. It just smells like dirt. It's just really, really well broken down composted material. So now you're kind of making me want to go grab it and have a bag on hand for using for something. Again, I don't really know what I have to use it on, but I feel like now I'm like, maybe I could use it. I don't know. So, any other recommendations for stuff for tomorrow? I was going to write down some stuff that Loki recommended, but I basically already was going to bring some of that stuff, so I can't really think of anything additionally. Let's see, anything else? Maybe I could do some termites. I could put up some Aranicola. I think they're reticular termes, but whatever they are, from mantids. Thank you, Loki. I'll put some mantids up. I'm going to have some more mantids available next week, so I'm going to put some mantids up. Sell me termites, Kyle. All right. Well, I'll put something. Probably reticular termes Aranicola, I will probably put up an undifferentiated worker group of tomorrow. What I'm trying to spit out, though, is some termites I collected in Alabama earlier this year have started making escape attempts. They ate through the cotton underlay, like they formed a little poop tube up to it, and they colonized and ate through the cotton underlay of their container. So I put them in a container to like be like, okay, no, bad, and stop them from doing that. And then it started building a stairway to heaven. So now there's a poop tube that's going directly vertical, trying to go up to where the screen is, and I just sort of knocked it over. They're not building a Tower of Babylon on my watch. There will be none of that in my presence. So phasmids, the only phasmid I will have for sale is going to be the Megaphasma dentricus cedar eater eggs. Those I will have a group up for grabs. Compsotes, I'm going to write that down here for Mr. Zen Monkey. Compsotes, mantids, anything else anybody's fixing for? Heteropteryx dilatata eggs. Dilatata, says Brain. Congrats. Kyle forces the termites to all speak different languages. Any Hemiptera? Yes, there will be some assassin bugs. Last time I put up a lot of Platymeris. Maybe I'll put up more Platymeris. Oh, hi, Junior. Junior, I don't know if you got the email or if you were here for the live stream when I mentioned it, but your box has gone out. So USPS should have forwarded the tracking information. Please do not send my box out next week unless you really have to, but try and send it out the following week after that if you can. Hemiptera, so yes, assassin bugs. Last time I think I put up every species I had except for the ghost Bigutatus, which didn't have any babies. There's now a good crop of babies, so some Platymeris Bigutatus ghost will be going up. And depending on how things go in the next 24 hours, some Platymeris gutata penis might go up. Do you still have milkweed bugs? No, but I can get them every summer. They lay eggs on all the milkweed around here. The problem I still have is that this is the protozoan that they get infected with. And when there's too much poop in the enclosure, they reinfect themselves with it by drinking up like their moist poop. And then the whole colony crashes over time. So I have to jump through some hoops to make some milkweed bugs, some completely cleaned out milkweed bugs available. I might even get some from Word Scientific or Carolina Biologicals because I'm assuming they've already cleared them out of that. But there might be some false sunflower bugs. I have to check. Those might be available. Any other suggestions? I think I'm going to wrap up the stream pretty soon because it is inventory time, everybody. So yeah, just let me know any of your last minute suggestions here. Keeping it to, again, 100 items. 100 items. 100 items. Should be some good stuff. A lot of isopods on the upswing with the increase in the humidity. It's kind of wild here. I obviously have a lot to do. I've done a lot in the last 2 weeks. Any Lepidoptera? Allie, do you want 100 items? Loki, do you want Pyralis? You're going to have some Pyralis for free if you want them. If you really want a Lepidoptera and to breed easily, you can have some Pyralis. I'm going to work on breeding for giant Pyralis. Obviously, we can do that. We bred for silkworms. We bred for giant silkworms and non-flying adults, so I don't see why we couldn't do that with Pyralis. It'd be a lot more useful too. 100 items, not more than 150 the first day. Not sure about the second and the third days. I can't see. The thing is, I can't do an extension on this auction because I'm going to be busy all day Saturday. So I have to get those. I have to get the new roaches I'm getting and set them up then. Loki asked for host plant. The host plant is dead bugs and dog food and fish flakes and dried out apples. That's the host plant for Pyralis ferinalis. If you are fixing to keep them. And they will breed, the couple of times I tried to purposefully breed Pyralis, I haven't been able to get them going. But when they find their way into a bin and they like it, it's like I sometimes I can't get rid of them. And I don't understand it. Maybe I will never understand it. But that's okay. It's okay. Sometimes we don't have to understand everything. At least not yet. Not yet. So, all right. Wrapping things up. Final suggestions for what you'd like to see at the mini auction tomorrow, everybody. Also, if you have any important news for me. I might already have them. Are they the tiny effers who get into snake bins? No, those are probably Indian meal moths or something similar. Pyralis are actually quite large. Like the wingspan on an adult Pyralis ferinalis can be up to, I'm getting the eye ruler pulled out here. The wingspan can be about 20 millimeters, maybe about 2 centimeters long wingspan tip to tip. And again, I go back and forth with myself on stuff where I'm like, oh, I need to eradicate them in my bins because they're hurting the roaches. And then I found out more over time. It's more like sometimes when their numbers swing up, it means the husbandry for the roaches that they're in with is wrong. And that's why the roaches are on the decline. And the Pyralis numbers going up is just a symptom of the decline. And then there's some other containers that they found their way into right now, like my Blabrus atropos and Blabrus boliviensis, where they're eating the dead roaches and definitely not affecting the health of the colonies. If anything, they're helping it by decreasing the amount of dead roaches very quickly. And so I'm like, well, this is cool. This is fine. I like this. Autographed Kyle portraits. A portrait. You know what? There's a good picture. Let me see if I can pull this up. There's a picture that I think Brandon Thomas, the local Brandon, not Brandon Maines, took of me when I was very inebriated back in April after a get together we had, and was beyond the point of redemption, and was slumped over on the floor, and it really looks like a Renaissance painting with the lighting and the outfit that I was wearing. I'm gonna try and find it here to show, so you guys can. Maybe I've shown it off before. I don't know. If I sound like here we go, a broken record, somebody stop me. But this is me, and this the lighting for this picture, and just the lighting on my face, my outfit, the everything. It's just very Renaissance or something. So maybe I could auction off an autographed laminated picture of Kyle in his inebriated stupor if anybody really wants it. Loki, I'll just send this right here. Pyralis ferinalis. If you want to look it up. You look like an old rock star after a wild night of... It's basically what it was. I was just really drunk. But yeah, so it's basically what it was. I was just laying there clinging to the oven for dear life. That is a fantastic pic. If you guys want to... Hello, CS also. If you guys want me to autograph one and make it available, I will do that. I'm not kidding. Is this the right amount? No, that's way too much money. I put too many zeros there. There we go. Yeah, I'm getting some fun roaches this weekend. Fun stuff. Here's a list of what I'm getting, just in case anybody's curious. Eublabrus marajora, Pseudoglomerus tarsalis. My colony that I had of them died. They were doing so well, but I never got babies, and I think they dried out. That was like last year or whatever. That was a while ago now. Ectobiides species Xiamen. Looks kind of like a Botella. Afrostylopyga species. I needed to restart my Derapeltis species Masai Mara, so those are coming. Hemiblabra granulata, Latella lyricalis, and 12 of Cubara species blonde ducky from the original 2018 import stock, which I'm really looking forward to getting. So that's what I'm going to be picking up on Saturday, and what I am paying for right now. And right now, as soon as everything loads here, there we go. All right, there we are. I'm getting some fun things. Yes, oh my gosh. I'll do it. I'll pull the picture up on my phone. Okay, guys, you're getting an autographed copy of this picture or whatever, laminated of me after that night in April where I was dead. That you guys you'll see how that goes. Loki says, honestly, I'd try and establish some of those moss might as well. Send some with the definite box I'm getting tomorrow. Loki, your box, what I meant by maybe your box already went out today. However, you do still, the Muelleri box still needs to make its way to you. So I can send some with the Muelleri box. So will you auction any crispy ducks? Man, that is such a good name. I'll put that on here. I think I can probably put a group of those up. Crispy ducks. Yeah, I can do a group of those. So, all right. So here's what I have written down here from things that I wasn't necessarily planning to put up for auction, but am now. Some Gromford Rhino Oblongonota, some X Vanonis, some Parcoblata, CF Americana, Table Rock, Mountain, Idaho, some Mantids, Compsodi, Schwarzei, and some Crispy Ducks. The new auction from tomorrow's auction. Okay. Well, I mean, that might ship with your Muelleri anyways, Loki. So, all right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me for this Roach Wiggle. I know we're doubling it up and having another thing tomorrow, but I really appreciate everybody who showed up, and I hope that some stuff that you guys want is going to be on the table tomorrow. So, with that being said, I hope to see a lot of you tomorrow, and may your cultures ever be bountiful. Until then, the next 24 hours. So take care, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow.